Hello and welcome to Hull Seahawks Behind the Curtain, the long-awaited episode 51. And we thought no better way to kick off this summer and our new releases than with our new import signing, Jordan Stallard. Jordy, how are you? Thanks very much for joining us on Behind the Curtain.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
I say, Matty, it's been a long time since we've got one of these out. There is no better way to kick it off than with a big signing.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it's been a couple of months. Obviously, after the season, it's busy and lots going on. But yeah, obviously now, we've managed to get a couple of signings out there now, and the team's sort of taking shape. And yeah, I think obviously now it's time to sort of I guess everyone knows who we've got in now at the minute. So yeah, no better guy to get on than Geordie. It's obviously one that I was really keen on getting in this year, and yeah, just glad we could get it done.
So, Jordy, we'll crack this off by looking at sort of your hockey career so far in a way, and a very, very good major junior career across, starting off at Calgary in the Calgary Hitmen, I believe.
Yeah. So I grew up in Brandon, Manitoba, Canada, and I got fortunate enough to get drafted from by Calgary in the WHL. Made it there when I was 17, played about 2.5, 3 years there, and then my final year, I was sort of final year and a half, I guess. I was traded to Prince Albert Raiders and finished off my career there.
I'd say, particularly in that last year at Prince Albert, some very, very good numbers. So, looking at 1.2, 1.3 points a game in the WHL, it's nothing to be frowned upon. That.
Yeah, no, that was it was a really good year. It was a good year as a group. I think we just had really strong leadership from top bottom, had really good coaches that helped me along the way, and I was playing with some really good guys, so that helped for sure.
And sort of during that junior career, of course, something that's been pointed out by a lot of fans was the drafting by the Winnipeg Jets. Sort of what goes on in that sort of situation. Talk us through how that works. As young kid, wanting, with that dream of making it, to the big game, and to have that moment where your name gets called.
Yeah, it was I think it's just something that every kid dreams about. It was obviously a dream of mine ever since I was a young kid to make it to the NHL, to play into the NHL and to get drafted into the NHL. And yeah, fortunately enough, I got my name selected in the fifth round. I was a year past, so my birthday is a late birthday, September 18th. So it falls over the deadline. I think it's September 15th was the deadline. So I actually got drafted in the 1998 draft class. So I think that helped me for sure. But it was a really cool experience. A really cool experience for my family, and getting drafted to Winnipeg. It's close near me. It's only a 2-hour drive from my hometown. So being a little hometown guy, it was pretty cool. And just even being able to attend the camps. They have development camps and main camps and rookie camps and whatnot, but they treat you so well there, and just really eye-opening, like how good these players are, and how well you're treated at that level. So it was really cool.
When you have that sort of glimpse into the professional aspect of the game, with how a franchise like Winnipeg might work, does that sort of influence you? Obviously, when you left Major Junior, obviously went down to the East Coast League as well, for a year. Was that sort of, was it always you knew you were going to go beyond Major Junior no matter what?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, my goal was always coming out of major junior to play pro. It was my goal was to go directly to pro, but obviously how things happen and things go down. I ended up not signing with Winnipeg. I ended up going to Ottawa Senators camp. Had a good camp there, but just don't think I was ready for that next level. And they sent me to the East Coast, and I think I got around 20 games in the coast before deciding to go to school. But yeah, that was a really good experience, just getting away from home and being out on my own the first time, get a taste for pro. But yeah, it was I don't look back on my decision to go to school. I think that was one of the best things I could have done. I had a great time, and it's still great hockey there. So
And as Matty, we are seeing, what Geordie refers to as skilled youth sports hockey over in Canada. We're seeing so many guys come into this league, the NIHL, and also the Elite League as well, who've come, through that pathway now.
Yeah, I think even going back quite a long time now. I remember sort of back in the day when we was in the elite league, there was a lot of guys came out of the CIS, it was called back then, and obviously U Sports now, yeah, it's been obviously, a really good level. I guess, Jordy knows more, but it gives, them guys a chance to get their schooling while still playing, right, and playing with a lot of good players. You see a lot of guys come out of that and play pro, whether it's in Europe or wherever. So yeah, like I think we've seen this year, just this summer in general. I know there's been, a big signing for Sheffield Steelers recently with a guy coming out of the U Sports, and it was sort
Very
of
genteel of it.
yeah. Obviously, there's a few of their fans having an opinion on it, I guess, and maybe not understanding how good that level is. I think so. Yeah, someone with that them sort of numbers he's going to be a real player. So yeah, it's obviously a really good level, and obviously we know with Johnny, what Johnny brought to us last year, and yeah, it's obviously a good level, and there's no doubt if you're bringing a guy out of that league, it's yeah, you're going to get a good player.
I think it's Sheffield, Mitchell Balmas, Patrick Watling both played sort of youth sports as well. So,
yeah,
the bit of a collection there, say, throughout the NIHL and the IHL, coming through youth sports. How did you find the league, Geordie? Sort of, particularly with COVID as well, as you had that interruption sort of after your first year.
Yeah, no, just to touch on what you said there, it's a really, really good league. Yeah, I don't think it gets enough hype for, what it's become now. You're getting a lot of guys coming out of the CHL and even other places that are coming, and they're still developing, and they still want to make that climb to pro, and it's a good stepping stone to get there. It's another outlet. So it's good. But yeah, obviously I didn't play too many games there. COVID kind of took a turn for the worse there, hockey wise at least. I remember my second year there, we were hosting nationals, and that's when COVID hit. So the tournament had started, I think a couple games had played, and then they ended up calling the tournament, and then yeah, we were done, and I think that was in March. And then the following year, yeah, we just didn't have a season at all. I think we played like maybe two exhibition games, but that was it. So that was kind of difficult. You're going to used to playing hockey 24/7, getting roughly 60, 70 games in the Western League, and then you're going to school where you're getting 30 games in, and then COVID hits and you're getting none in. So that was a bit of adjustment coming back the following year, but it was good.
We'll come back to sort of Acadia University and connections in a little bit later in the podcast, but sort of coming out of only playing sort of, as I say, a handful of games over 2 COVID years to then ending up over on this side of the pond, Manchester and then Germany, sort of what was the decision making there to sort of, once school had finished, to make that jump to Europe?
I think I always had Europe set on my mind. I always thought it'd be amazing to travel the world and be able to play the game that you love. But yeah, I was pondering between going to the coast at the end of my Acadia career there, and I think I went there when I was 20, and I wanted to see the world. I knew the EI was a really good league. So I ended up signing there and heading there at August. It obviously didn't work out there. I think I got released mid to end of November, and then ended up coming home for a little bit, and then finding a place to play in Germany 3, which was also a really cool experience.
Say, after, a couple of years in Germany, you did make that jump back, to the East Coast. And I say, we know from a few Hull fans have had their eyes on that league, particularly this year, but, following an old fan favourite over here, but it's a very, very competitive league, isn't it, the East Coast? One step down from the AHL, it's, we spoke about Dave, played over there a good 15 years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
We spoke with Dave Phillips.
Yeah, I think I've obviously never experienced it myself. I just know a lot of guys that have gone, and I think it's a totally different world of travel and just, getting set up, and it sounds like a bit of a nightmare. The bus journeys alone sound like not the not the most fun. But yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a bit of a jungle, I think they call it. It's tough to get out of that league if you're a young player. And then obviously it's got a load of older pros that are really good players. So yeah, I think it's obviously a really good level. But yeah, I think guys want to come and play in Europe because I think they want to see a little bit some other things, right? I just think it's totally different over here than it is over there. And I think that's what we have over here. We can offer players, a different way of life, a different thing to see. Um, yeah, and the level's getting a lot better. Obviously, the Elite League has been getting better for 10 years now. It's at a really good level, but this level is only following as well. And yeah, I think next year we're going to see, like I say, we're going to see a real good level.
So I can see you nodding along there, Geordie. Sort of, how have you enjoyed sort of, and obviously last year with the Five Flyers as well, after a brief stint in Finland, but how much do you enjoy sort of the lifestyle and what hockey in the UK brings? Obviously, 2 free games a week, training, about a similar number of times, and it's probably most days are up in the IHL, but and getting to see new things, new way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been such a cool experience. I've been very fortunate and blessed to have this opportunity. Yeah, I just love it. I love seeing new parts of the world. I love seeing new cultures and meeting new guys. And it obviously helps having Johnny there. Played with Johnny all 4 years at school, and we became good buddies. So that always helps having him around. Won't be as bad coming in. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And we spoke to you a couple of times last year, with Johnny about his sort of transition from the IHL to the NIHL and wanting to hear his reasons, to wanting to find his game again and get back to playing, more minutes, bigger situations. After what was a difficult year involved for everybody at Fife last year. Is that sort of part of your decision making? What's the reason for making the move to Hull?
Yeah, I just think, the past couple of years it's been a little bit of a struggle for me just finding my groove. And, obviously in Fife this year we had a very difficult season. Went through lots of downs and lots of adversity and, just want to, find the love for the game and produce and have fun playing it and win some hockey games. And I think I can bring a lot to the table as far as leadership, and I'm a little bit of an older guy, so can help out the UK guys a little bit, and I'm just really looking to do that.
How would you describe your game? Because Matt, I'll just mention, obviously, we had a lot of chat last year, sort of not really on the podcast, of course. We didn't get too many of these out last year, but particularly in our post-game interviews about Johnny Corneille's game. Of course, Johnny's just said a very good friend of his. And there was a few fans who didn't quite appreciate Johnny, within the first few weeks, a month, and you stood by the guy, and he's one of the most loved guys in the arena right now, isn't he? And
I think when look, it was a tough. Obviously, when you have to get rid of a guy that's played 2 games, and obviously he had a couple of games that were pretty good. But look, I think when Johnny was available, it was. I know a lot of people in Manchester still, and honestly, like everybody said, Johnny's like the best guy you've ever met. And honestly, I know we're talking him up, and I love Johnny, but he's a diamond. I can't even say anything more than like that kid. He'll do anything for his teammates. And look, he brought everything for us last year. Like he put, great guy off the ice. The lads love him, but every single night he came to work, and he's just a real good player. Like he's good everywhere. He's good all over the ice. A big part of Geordie and that situation was Johnny, right? Johnny spoke to Johnny a lot about Geordie and Geordie's agent as well. I know well, so yeah, we had a lot of conversations about it, and I think look, when you know someone as well as they know each other, they're good players. Good players can always play with each other and find a way when you've got good IQ and you know where each other are going to be. But at the end of the day, Johnny's just a workhorse. He'll put everything into it, and that's the type of player I want. And yeah, I think the fans soon turn around to realizing how good Johnny was. Yeah, he's Johnny's the boy, isn't he?
So, Johnny, what's Johnny told you about Hull then? Sort of, Matt just mentioned that he's had a little word in the air. Sort of, what's he told you about the guys?
Yeah, no, he absolutely loves it there. He said nothing but good things. Says that lots of good times there. Said the guys are great. Was even talking to him through bits and pieces throughout last year. He almost came up and visited me up in Fife there for a little bit up in Kirkcaldy. Didn't end up happening, but no, we stayed in contact, and he has nothing but good things to say about the place. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really eager to get going.
Matt mentioned, of course, everyone got to know Johnny's game, as time went on. But what can the fans expect from your game? What type of player are you, and going to be for the Seahawks?
I think I'm a two-way player. I take pride in both ends of the ice and try to like to slow the game down a little bit. And I'd say I lean towards the playmaker side, but I can put the puck in the net as well.
Sort of, looking ahead to this year, then, it's a big year, Matt, isn't it, for the Seahawks, of course. With the frustration of the last couple of years of the Cup final and Coventry, and especially with the addition of the fourth import, bringing a guy like Geordie in was that sort of always, on that list very early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, there's always a lot of talk about, the team and how the team should be and what people would like it to be constructed like. And at the end of the day, look, I think I know my team and the players that we have pretty well. I feel like I knew where we fell off a little bit last year, and a lot of that was, in my opinion, was just bodies. Was bodies and depth, right? And every good team in any league around the world, you see it now with the NHL, the teams with the deepest teams win. So look, Geordie's going to bring, what he just said is just a massive part of his game is just experience and controlling on the ice, right? And there's you can never go too far wrong by having a good centre. Like, it's so key to the game. The centre of the ice, is honestly a lot of obviously our game. It runs through a lot of our centres. And yeah, it's one of them things that I feel like we really missed out on last year, was having, that two line real depth, one punch, and obviously we know what the first line did last year, but I feel like we really probably didn't have enough down the lineup. And Johnny, obviously, look, he's someone that really wants to produce and do well, and I felt like he sort of got down on himself a little bit just because he felt like he wasn't probably doing what he could have done last year. And that's why I'm excited for him and Geordie, because I think, they're going to have each other to play with each other, or, the top six could go anywhere. But I'm just excited that we've got more depth and proper quality with Geordie. And I think he's going to bring a lot to our team and a lot to the league. I think people are going to be shocked how good we're going to be.
Very, very excited to see it, and I'm sure all Hull Seahawks fans are. Just before we leave you on episode 51 of the podcast, a few quick fire questions for your way, Geordie. First of all, we're going to kick it off with best player you've ever played with.
Best player, probably Travis Sanheim or Jake Bean.
I knew there'd be some NHL names in there pretty early on.
Travis Sanheim, I played with him in Calgary, and he's currently playing in Philadelphia. And then Jake, I played with him in Calgary as well, and I think he's actually playing in Calgary, right now too, for the Flames.
And of course, with a major junior career, such as yours, best player you've ever played against.
Oh, oh God. Probably Braden Point or Sam Reinhart, I want to say. But Braden Point, yeah, I remember playing, we were in Calgary and he was playing Moose Jaw, and yeah, he'd put up like four points a night. And I remember it was crazy.
Braden Point's a joke. Like, it's cheat code, isn't it?
And I'll say, we mentioned Sam Reinhart there. I know by the time this probably gets released, it might be game 3, game 4 in that series, but
yeah.
I will get predictions now. We are 1-0 at the moment as we record this, everyone. Obviously, us taking the first game last night through Drysdale on the back door. But predictions for that Stanley Cup final, Geordie?
I'm cheering for Edmonton the whole way. I want to see a Canadian team win it, and I'd love to see McDavid and Draisaitl and those guys get one. I think they deserve one. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Matt, I think we saw on the social post you were backing the Panthers, weren't you?
I love Florida. I love how they play, but I completely agree. I think the game needs a Canadian Stanley Cup winner. McDavid needs to win a cup. Like, he's probably going to be the best player that's ever played the game. He needs to win a cup, right? But I love Florida's game. Like, everything they're about is a bit of me. But yeah, look, I think it's going to go 7. I think it's 2 very good teams.
As I'm looking forward to as a Colorado
Who do you
fan.
think?
Well, I'm a Colorado fan, so I can't back anyone else in the Western Conference. I've got to back Florida personally. But I can't wait to see how things go over the next 6 games or potentially 6 games. Next one, favorite thing about living in the UK?
Weather. It's got to be the weather. It's unreal,
Fucking
isn't it?
Coddy.
I don't know. I think there's just lots to do. I'm gonna throw it out there. I had some pretty good fish and chips when I was living in Scotland, so that was really good. Played some really good golf, so I'm gonna go with that.
Not bad.
We might be able to compete on the fish and chips. I think the Scottish courses are probably outdoing.
Yeah.
We've got our partners with Burstwick, though.
We've got some.
We'll throw the name in there.
We've got some decent ones. I'll take you out, George, when we get here. We've got some good ones.
Right on.
And the final one, just to round this off, thing you're most excited for about the move to Hull?
I just think getting there in general, playing in front of the fans again. Johnny said the fans were amazing there, so I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to meeting the guys and just getting started, getting to work, and have a good start to the year.
Well, I got to say, it's been a very, very enjoyable return for Behind the Curtain. And thanks very much, Jordy, for joining us on episode 51. Pleasure to finally get to speak to you. And looking forward to seeing you down the rink come August.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see you guys soon.
That's been episode 51 of Hull Seahawks Behind the Curtain. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There will be more. We promise more in February. We apologise. There's a whole host of episodes recorded tonight, so they are coming your way over the summer. See you soon.